Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you were all having a great day. To start things off, this article actually came out, I'm not even joking, a couple of minutes before we got the news yesterday about what happened with Ethereum, but it's still very relevant and I will tell you why in a bit. With the concern in the cryptoverse regarding the ongoing crypto market turmoil caused by the CoinRail hack and 4 crypto exchanges being investigated by the CFTC, there was a recent interview with Brenda Whitman, who deals with IRAs, which are individual retirement accounts centered on precious metals and cryptocurrencies. Mrs. Whitman is a registered financial consultant and the interim CEO at Coin IRA, as well as its parent company of Gold Co. Coin IRA has tailor-made Bitcoin IRAs that can be bought using traditional IRA or 401k pension accounts. Mrs. Whitman has over 13 years experience with precious metals and cryptocurrency IRAs. She was very optimistic about the cryptocurrency industry and was quick to reference the current turmoil as growing pains. She had this to say with regards to the CFTC investigations. She said the cryptocurrency industry is still in the throes of a massive growth spurt. That means there will be some growing pains, among them the price volatility that concerns a lot of investors. That has also manifested itself in CFTC's investigation into possible price manipulation or by exchanges. It's the fear of the cryptocurrency trading being a rigged game more than fears of hacking that has led to recent sell-offs and price drops. She also expressed concerns that the lack of direction by the SEC was causing further uncertainty. She said the major unknown going forward is the threat of regulatory action. Government agencies have accepted that cryptocurrencies are here to stay, but that doesn't mean that some of them won't be subject to further regulation. Here's what I'm talking about. With respect to the current discussion of both Ethereum and Ripple being classified as securities, Mrs. Whitman mentioned that if the SEC rules those to be securities, then it could push further future cryptocurrency development further away along the model of Bitcoin rather than that of Ethereum. This was maybe why you noticed why I was so excited yesterday in my video when we got clarification on this, which I'm still going to talk about after this. This is due to the fact that the Ethereum project itself was a crowd-funded endeavor. The platform in turn provides an avenue for ICOs, which are also crowd-funded projects. She, however, mentioned the reluctance of regulatory bodies to act on such and the effects of delay on the crypto markets. But given how slow regulators tend to move, we foresee underlying market forces remaining the major factor in driving cryptocurrency prices higher in the immediate future. When asked about the general direction of the crypto markets and the discussion of institutional investors deciding to invest in the crypto market, she said that with stock market stagnation, Federal Reserve monetary tightening, and higher interest rates, the stage is set for a cryptocurrency breakout as more and more investors will move out of stocks and bonds and look to alternative assets to protect their investment wealth. Someone said in the comment section below, I don't remember who you are, I get so many comments now, that I mentioned, for some reason, they were upset when we got news that the SEC had declared that Ethereum was not a security. They said that I said that we wouldn't have any type of regulatory clarity for the next 3 to 9 months. I don't know if you were looking at the screen. I read off of things. The 3 to 9 months came from someone who was either in the SEC or the CFTC. They said they didn't expect any type of regulatory clarity for the next 9 months, 3 to 9 months. This is why it was such a huge deal to have a random spurt of someone declaring that Ethereum was not a security. What it comes down to, besides, okay, one, taxation is definitely a major thing. It comes down to the fact that no one was expecting it. It literally came completely out of left field because the market has been stagnant, as you may have noticed over the last couple of months, because it comes down to regulation and classification of what everything is. Even the whole Ripple thing aside, a lot of people are asking me, but what about Ripple? What about Ripple? Why don't we have clarification on Ripple? What we needed was some type of clarification in general for the entire space. The fact that we now know that Ether is not a security leads the way for all these institutional investors who are looking to get into it. They now know exactly what they have to do when it comes to tax time. It's a really big difference when you are dealing with $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in the cryptocurrency market and you have to pay taxes, and you slide them a 50. Okay, this is how much I have to pay in taxes. I don't know how much taxes are around the world. I just thought 50 sounded like a good number. but you still have clarity on exactly how much you're going to have to pay because of Ethereum not being a security. I believe it's now considered a commodity, if I'm not mistaken. This is absolutely major, and we also have clarification. It was about a week ago or something like that, maybe a bit less, that ICOs are also, this wasn't 1000% official, but he said this 5 times in a row. He said that he considers all ICOs are securities. I assume when this is written into the books, it would also be the exact same thing. This is why we saw the prices jump yesterday, because this is exactly what we needed. Ripple is literally the last thing that we need. But even then, you guys know I love Ripple, I love XRP, but they're not as important in all of this space. What this comes down to is that Bitcoin and Ethereum have been declared that they are not securities, and this is absolutely major going forward. Like I said, because it's just about the clarification. It comes down to if this is supposed to be a multi-trillion-dollar asset class, billionaires need to know where they're putting their money, and when it's time to cash out, whenever that might be, they need to know exactly how much they're going to be taxed. You can't dump billions of dollars into a market where you don't know exactly what's going on. This is why the market shot up yesterday. It's actually down a tiny bit because Mr. Number One is going down for whatever reason. But yeah, this is why this is kind of so significant. This is why I was so excited in that video yesterday. I don't know if you realized, because in my head, I was like, we're not going to get clarification until all of this until around mid or early 2019. It was a bit of a bummer, but to have news like this is completely important, because Bitcoin aside, all the other trading pairs are also latched onto Ethereum, and this is why the price of Ethereum shot up higher than Bitcoin, which was also trying to keep up with it because it was dragging everything else up in the market. So the fact that we have some type of clarity as to what Ethereum is, this should, by all logical accounts, because we also know, for better or worse, that ICOs are securities according to the SEC, and that Ethereum is not a security. This should be the open door for all the institutional investors to start to dump their money into the market. No one knows when it's going to happen. We've had an enormous amount of news about all these people who have been preparing for for the institutional investors to come into the space and start dumping their money inside of it. We've had all of this framework built around it. So for what it's worth, this should now be more or less the time when we start to see the market potentially moving forward. And this is why, like I said, it was relevant on what she said. She said, everyone expected it to happen after we had clarification, and this literally came out minutes before we had any type of news about Ethereum. Not to spend too much time on this, you guys get what I'm saying. This is why I was so excited, because 9 months is a really long time in the crypto space, so this should hopefully get the engine rolling. Next up, this is the entire is Bitcoin not Bitcoin fight, and it's still going to go on, and it's going to go on forever in the cryptocurrency space. Bitcoin.org launched a new website design on and has removed references and links to certain partners, including BitPay, Coinbase, and even blockchain. Kind of crazy. The removal of the companies occurred on most of the resource pages, mainly the exchanges page. The argument for removing these large players who have helped with increasing adoption for new users is that they act against decentralized principles, so they say. As CCN reported, the Bitcoin.org blog published a post that denounced SegWit2x, which has come during the intense debate as part of the New York Agreement. The post, in no uncertain terms, vehemently criticized SegWit2x and called out 51 companies by name that support the protocol. The post followed a lengthy discussion on GitHub, something that was opened up in December, that recommended that Bitcoin.org website remove companies that defaulted to SegWit2x. The outcome of the discussion accumulated in the litmus test for companies that supported SegWit2x in tolerable ways. They said they have removed support for them in these points, and they are: the company will not, under any circumstances, list SegWit2x as BTC or as Bitcoin, and they will not note that Bitcoin is not ruled by miners, and miners' actions cannot be used as a justification to redefine Bitcoin. The company will not default do anything that would deprive users of their Bitcoin using SegWit2x software without addressing replay attacks, selling users Bitcoins automatically, crediting Bitcoin deposits only as SegWit2x deposits, or providing access to SegWit2x coins is acceptable. However, the company will continue to provide normal service to Bitcoin or non-SegWit2x users. The company removed from the sites were not in line with these principles, according to the team behind Bitcoin.org. I really wonder how long this is going to continue. I wish there was some type of solution when it comes to all of this. But like I said, the more forks that we have, the more the discussion is going to go on. I think it has to be over 80 Bitcoin forks by now. A lot of them are just not being listed at all anymore because a lot of them aren't getting any attention, because after like the 5th or 6th fork, you kind of got to stop. Everyone says that they have their own way as to how Bitcoin should be run. The craziest part is that all of these people, they all claim to know and or have met Satoshi Nakamoto at some point. And they say that he is telling all of them or whispering in their ear that this is how Bitcoin should be and this is why they created the forks. Someone's lying. I don't think this person and or entity is telling all these 80 different people that this is how Bitcoin should be. Like I said, someone's lying. I have a large feeling that a lot of it's just for a cash grab, but it's kind of getting nasty in their approaches to exactly how they're treating each other, especially when they're delisting other companies who have actually helped to push the name Bitcoin forward in the space. But I have my own views on this, which I'm not going to discuss in the video, but this is already getting out of hand. Next up, the EOS blockchain is now 1000% live. This happened after roughly a week of deliberation and testing by block producer candidates, those groups vying for the 21 validator node spots in which they will receive rewards for verifying transactions and helping to protect the network from all those around the world. While that testing phase uncovered several vulnerabilities that caused two groups to go head-to-head on the correct implementation and delays for the launch on June 9th, block producer candidates unanimously voted in favor of launching the blockchain. As per the project's process, that percentage was the 2/3 plus 1 of candidate community to initiate the launch, but also per the chain, the blockchain wasn't officially live until further validation had been completed. An appointed block producer launched the chain, and then 15% of EOS holdings had voted. And once 15% of the tokens vote to establish the set of 21 elected block producers, the chain becomes active. This took longer than many had anticipated for many reasons, including security concerns with the voting process. Altogether, it took around 2 weeks. It took a while for us to get up to the 15%. A lot of people did not know how to vote, what they had to do to vote. We now have 17.24% of voters who voted for which block producers. I'm not exactly sure even which block producers that we have right now. What it comes down to now when it comes to EOS is that, how do I say this? It comes down to adoption. All the companies who said that they would be moving over from Ethereum to EOS, we have to see if they're actually going to do it. We have to see how many apps are going to be actually built on top of this. Like I said before, when it comes to airdrops, there's already a huge amount of companies who have said that they're going to be releasing apps and or dApps, however you want to call them. It's now down to, let's see exactly how this is going to go, who's going to build stuff on top of it, how is it going to be adopted. A lot of companies who will be using this, they are buying up EOS so that they can actually, comically enough, lock up their tokens in the network, because this is how you secure your space in the network when you have locked up or staked your tokens into EOS. So the theory is, as more apps start to develop and or drop on the network, you have to buy EOS, the token, in order to claim your spot on the network. So this will eventually fill up as more people are looking to continue to vote for which block producers that they want to stay on the network, and or how long you want to keep your voting rights and or space on the EOS network. All very, very exciting. It took 2 weeks, but it finally happened, and I am grateful that it actually happened. Also minutes after we got the Ethereum announcement, so it was like a 2-for-1. Because waiting some time when it comes to the cryptocurrency space, as you may all know, is a bit of a bummer. It just takes a long time sometimes, so it's nice to, see that things are finally moving forward. Next up, this is actually a really interesting story. I think it's because I didn't think that Walmart would ever be doing anything with Bitcoin. So retail giant Walmart has won a patent for an on-demand electrical grid that would be powered by Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. The system outlined in a patent awarded by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the USPTO, on Thursday is designed to help organizations better manage the energy usage of individual electric devices. Walmart first applied for the patent last December of 2017. According to the patent, residential homes or even large multi-site organizations could use a blockchain or another type of distributed ledger to build a network of energy-consuming devices. They could then assign each device a set amount of Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency, which it could use to purchase energy from the utility provider over a set billing period, such as 1 month. They said each unit cryptocurrency may represent a unit or a portion of a unit of energy, adding that the cryptocurrency may be a Bitcoin or an altcoin or derivative of a Bitcoin or any digital currency. They said if an individual device exceeds its allocation of cryptocurrency, another device on the network could share its funds with the first device to ensure that it continues to function during the billing period. However, these transactions, which would be recorded on a distributed ledger, would also demonstrate to device owners that a particular device is consuming more energy than it should. The patent says currently, energy providers deliver energy to locations that inefficiently use the energy, which leads to increased energy costs for customers. The increased costs result from various appliances and devices that consume energy at high levels. Then the appliance or device may actually need to function or perform certain tasks. Appliances, I'm used to saying apps. Appliances and devices are now available to consumers that can operate more energy efficiently, but still consume more energy than needed or economically practical. I'm not the only one who thinks this is kind of weird, right? It's nice to see that someone else is getting into the cryptocurrency game. It's nice that we may one day, thanks to Walmart, have the option to put our cryptocurrencies onto a grid to power our homes. It's all kind of odd. There are a lot of other companies who are, I mentioned these in other videos before, I'm sure you've noticed, other companies who are coming forward with patents that they want to use with cryptocurrency. It's all kind of odd. I think they're just buying up as many things as they possibly can so that no one else can be able to get it before. Because if someone gets a patent before you do, then you're kind of out of luck. But this one seems a bit odd. I'm sure it'll have its useful applications in the future. But I think it's because it's coming from Walmart and not like a major player in the cryptocurrency game that is kind of throwing me off a bit. I don't know if it's just me. Next up, this is actually major news, but it didn't rattle the markets one little bit. Not rattle them, push them up rather. And I think I know why. Formerly Bitcoin-only exchange ItBit has received approval from the New York State Department of Financial Services, or the NYDFS, to add trading in 4 new cryptocurrencies, according to a press release shared with Cointelegraph on June 14th. I believe that was yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. In addition to Bitcoin trading, the platform will now be offering trading and custody services for Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Stellar. ItBit is the 31st largest crypto exchange in the world by 24-hour trading volume, according to data from CoinMarketCap. The newly added crypto assets will have custody, escrow, and over-the-counter services available immediately. The press release notes that ItBit is the first NYDFS-approved trust company to offer trading and custody services for crypto assets, and is the first to receive the Department of Financial Services, the DFS, approval to trade Stellar in New York. The CEO of ItBit, Charles Cascarilla, said in the press release that the addition of these 4 crypto assets is an important milestone for ItBit as we create a broader platform for crypto asset investors. Continuing, we are committed to the growth and evolution of this ecosystem, and DFS approval allows us to offer more trading and crypto services across a wider range of crypto assets. I think that this is what I say. There's so much focus on Coinbase. Another major New York City cryptocurrency exchange added 4 more coins and none of these coins moved, and they all ended up moving only when the SEC gave us clarification that Ethereum was not a security. You would have assumed, by all logic, for those who don't know or wanted to know, I grew up in New York, and I know how difficult it is to do things in New York, to get any type of license, to get anything going in New York, especially when it comes to things around finance and cryptocurrencies. You'd better believe this was very difficult for them to get. So the fact that the market didn't move off of this news, and once again that there's still so much focus on Coinbase, is kind of boggles the mind. Very good for them. I have never used itBit. If you have used itBit before and it is actually a good service, please tell people in the comment section below. You can also say if it's bad, let other people know. Don't just, spread false rumors if they're not actually good. If you've actually used them, if you had a good run with them, tell other people below, because this is another place for them to be able to trade and or buy cryptocurrencies, especially if you live in New York or in America. I know sometimes it can be very difficult to have access to other assets, especially Stellar, if you're looking to get into Stellar. But I think it's mainly because they are the 31 largest, and a lot of people put so much focus on Binance and Coinbase. But this is very good. Like, I don't use itBit. I don't know the people behind it. But it's very good for them. And I'm glad to hear that this is slowly moving along and that they finally had some type of New York license, because New York is a rough place. It's all around, even when it comes to finance. Last up, Russia is in the news, and this might actually be the weirdest news today. Following an earlier push for legislative measures to regulate cryptocurrencies, Russia moves to determine how they would be classified by law. The head of state Duma committee says that they will be regarded as digital rights rather than cryptocurrencies. Back in May, regulations were proposed to eliminate the risks associated with the unregulated nature of cryptocurrencies. Now, the head of state Duma Financial Market Committee, Anatoly Arkasov, who was in the news about 2 days ago, confirmed that the drafts are already being prepared and could be adopted by July 29th. On the matter of regulating cryptocurrencies, Arkasov shared that the legislators are abandoning the currently existing term cryptocurrencies, digital money, and digital currency, noting that they will be removed from the drafts entirely. Instead, they will now be called digital rights. He said, the concepts of digital money and digital currency will definitely disappear from circulation. They will not appear anywhere in the legislation. We will remove the term cryptocurrencies. The exchange of digital rights is to be allowed. However, they won't be referred to as assets, but merely as rights. Accordingly, Russia's tax legislation would have to change to comply with the amendments. It says we will need to change something in the tax code to describe how digital rights will be taken into account for tax purposes. That is, digital assets will be considered not as property, but as a new type of property, digital rights. If you're as confused as I am, please raise your hand. The head of State Duma's Financial Committee also explained that Russia intends to take a different approach to tokens issued through ICOs compared to the US. I'm not going to read that. The point is, what is a digital right? There are countries that have like digital residency, digital citizenship. A digital right sounds like something you have a right to, but they've taken out the term currency from it, but you can still be taxed on your rights. Like I said, I'm sure I'm not the only one who is a little confused about what they have to say, but apparently this is official. I don't understand what the implications will be for this. Russia has completely changed everything that had to do with cryptocurrencies. They've kind of squashed it down to a little tiny box, especially when it comes to ICOs. They have like the little sandbox thing. Cryptocurrencies are no longer cryptocurrencies. They are now digital rights. And only institutional investors are actually allowed to invest majorly in digital rights in their country. And I think if you are not an institutional investor, I think you have, what was it, like $1,500 a year that you can put into digital rights. All kind of weird. It's good to have clarification. I don't know how I'm supposed to end this or say something nice about it. It's all kind of odd. I know I'm not the only one who thinks this. Good job, Russia, on the clarification. I don't want to spend too much time on that because it's all just kind of odd. All right, everyone. That is definitely going to do it for this video. A lot of news today. This still isn't even all the news. I think this is coming off the back end of EOS and the entire Ethereum thing happening. Like I said, the market is not down a tiny bit, but it's not as high as it was when we got the Ethereum announcement. I think Bitcoin is going down. I'm not sure if it's because of the tethered news or who knows what in the world it could be at this point. It could literally be anything. Let's hope that Ethereum continues on its push upward, and even, let's hope that it eventually decouples from the price of Bitcoin so that we can get the market moving. But apparently, according to this woman and many other experts, the market's already on its way up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys have a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. Hope you're enjoying it. Hope it's amazing. Thank you once again for watching. Thank you once again for all the support. You guys are awesome, and I will talk to you all soon. See you.